Bonobos are endangered, but it's not only bonobo. All the biodiversity in Central Africa and other places also is an ongoing process. We see species disappear, and it's very important for us that we have to save our closest relative, because if you leave them gone, one day we will be alone on the planet, and it will be the very bad period for humans, I think. Everybody in the world is trying to save the biodiversity for the moment, because it's a very, very bad moment for this. All animals are endangered: elephant, rhino, and of course the great apes everywhere in the world, and especially in Africa. People try to do this. Even the national government, the law exists, but the application, it's another story. It was during the very difficult political period that we live in DRC, Congo, in the year 90. And I go to save the zoo. I'm not a professional of this, but I like animals. My father was a vet in Congo, so probably I have a big heart. I'm not too hard. For human and animals, I just have one heart for everything. And I go to save the zoo, and we save the animal, but also see 30 people who are in the same stage, waiting I don't know what. No food, no salary. It was a very hard period. And very quick, after 4 months, someone bring a baby chimpanzees. I believe it was a chimpanzees. And the director of the zoo told me, "Oh, Maman Claudine, don't put your heart in this animal. It's a bonobo." A bonobo. It was the first time I hear about this name. And he say, he never survived in captivity. He died all the time because he's too sad. They are too sad to survive without the mother. So it was a second challenge. The first one was save the animal of the zoo. The second one was save this bonobo. And I carry it all the time. And I realized that after 1 or 2 weeks, he began to make a transfer of love on me. He wanted to survive because my love for him. And it was a solution. It's why we have 4 and now 6 substitute mothers who give to the orphan bonobo who arrive in Lola the taste to survive because the love of the substitute mother. So one day I have 5 bonobo at home, and it was impossible to continue like this. Change for me, I have an American woman I met, Jo Thompson. It's a PhD bonobo. She come to see me and she say, "Claudine, do you know this baby bonobo will grow? And it's so hard to keep them together in a small community because they have a very difficult way to manage the group in captivity." So I always have this voice in my ear, and I was always ready to have a new step because very quick the Congolese government helped me to confiscate the baby bonobo on the street because the law exists and they have to do this. But the war is coming again and again. So I was rescued with my bonobos in the American school of Kinshasa because the school was closed. So I have another step there where I begin with education of the youth. And after I find, when the block road by military was finished, I find a forest area, Lola Ya Bonobo. It means the paradise in the local language. And we move with 20 bonobo. Today is 80 bonobos. They never stop to arrive. So after 20 years, we decide to go to reintroduction because I cannot imagine that Lola Ya Bonobo will be saturated and refuse the last orphan of the last great apes in the wild. So we go to reintroduction, and this is the story of the movie, to return the bonobo in their former habitat in the wild. My motto is conservation begins by education. And one of the first goals, the first goal is rehabilitate the baby bonobo when they arrive as orphan and very poor. But the second goal is conservation begin by education. So we received 30,000 kids of school, Congolese school, by year at Lola Ya Bonobo in an education program. So it's to give a better knowledge of the unique great ape we have in Congo, the bonobo. I hope this movie, coming out in a large Anglophone public, will give a better knowledge of this fantastic species. Bonobo are different of the other great apes. They may love no war, and they are more pacific. They share territory, they share sexual propriety, so no reason to make the war.
It was a very complicated movie to shoot because in my career as a director, I've been involved in a lot of animal documentaries and shooting with a lot of animals. But the difference with bonobos was that they are very intelligent animals. So you cannot direct him like you direct an actor or any other kind of animals. That was the real challenge of the movie. The story we are telling is a true story, but this documentary is also a reproduction of a story, so it's a docu-fiction, and in that sense we had to sometimes reproduce some scenes, and the bonobos, when we were, for example, shoot the camera in what direction, then the bonobo will move in the meantime, so we will have to reframe the camera, and that was difficult. So you would think that bonobos are very sweet animals because they are cute, but actually they are very naughty, and during the shoot they were always trying to replace a cameraman, or let's say to use the camera as a mirror and to play with it and to play around it. So we had to use a lot of patience to do this movie all along, and that's also why it took us 12 weeks to achieve this shooting. All the difficulty we had shooting these movies, we used cinema tools and cinema equipment like cranes, for example. And well, it didn't help us because with the bonobos, since they didn't behave like actors would in the cinema, we would sometimes take a whole day to shoot just one scene. And we didn't only film at Lola Ya Bonobo, we also filmed in the forest, in the wild, where we had to find actual wild bonobos to shoot with. And I can tell you, we had sometimes 12 to 13 hours in the forest to find these animals that would act with us. Just like in Bambi or in other wildlife movies, some moments of the movie show the animals hurt or injured. And we didn't want these animals to get hurt or injured, so I'm going to explain you how we did. We actually used fake bonobos. We have taken a bear, an ape bear, if I may say, that we filled with sand. It weighed 30 kilos, and then the moment when the hunters killed the mother and falls from the tree, it was indeed not a real bonobo, but the bear filled with sand. I know it looks really true, and many people keep asking the question how we make it feel so real. For example, when she's bleeding, we of course use fake blood, the one that we use in the cinema, and we use these moments where, you know, they have to go to health check very often, and they make the bonobo sleep. So during the time that she was asleep, we covered her face with blood, fake blood, and we reproduced a fake environment, a scenery, so that it looks real. When you see in the movie Benny as an adult bonobo drowning in the river, of course he wasn't drowning, he was just asleep, and the same as the mother bonobo, we used one of the moments when he was asleep, after putting a product on his lip that makes him sleep for a little while, and then he's waking up after this time. So it's not actually Benny recovering from drowning, it's just him waking after falling asleep. Once a year, the 80 bonobos of Lola Ya Bonobo goes for a health check, which is necessary because they need to take the blood pressure and to also take some blood to do some exams. And that's when we, fortunately, we have been shooting for 12 weeks in a row, so we were able to have these moments where they were asleep and use them for the filming. And I have to say that the bonobo may be very difficult actors, but they also gave us a lot during the shooting. They were like giving us some emotions and faces that we wouldn't have even dreamed of, especially the final scene when the bonobo comes and hug Claudine, and then he goes back to forest, breaking a branch to go over his past. That was a real gift. For 3 weeks, looking at the bonobos in the eyes and see this very human and crazy, extremely human look is something that I will never forget, and still today makes me shiver.
Rebecca Hall and Luke Evans signed up for the film, which we were absolutely thrilled about. They were both very much into the cause of the bonobos and the work of Claudine Andre, and they were willing to take time out of their very busy schedules to come in to record. Luke had such a great time performing the voice of the orphan Benny. It's quite a challenge to put a voice to a real-life animal, but Luke seemed to have a strong connection and deep affection for him from the start. And I think this helped him to succeed in giving the audience an even deeper understanding of this mischievous, incredibly intelligent, and very expressive little bonobo. And Luke was able to seamlessly age this performance from the baby Benny to the wizened Benny that we see at the end of the film. He did a really great job. Rebecca narrates the film as Claudine Andre. She tells the story, a very moving story, all the while Claudine is actually on screen and at times speaking herself. So it was crucial the voices aligned. And I think that Rebecca not only matched the qualities of Claudine's voice, her performance embodied her incredible passion and conviction and strength. So much so that at the film's premiere in New York, there were those in the audience who thought that Claudine had actually done the narration herself. So I think that's quite a compliment to Rebecca. In this film, the jungle becomes almost another character. You feel it, you have the voices of the natives of the Congo, and it's a very beautiful sort of orchestration between music, narration, and the ambience and Africa. You get a very strong sense for Africa in this world, and you're just completely plunged into it through the sound. It's a very family-oriented film in that through the bonobos you see the connections between the mother very strongly and the baby. You see the grief of a baby losing its mother and then refinding a new mother, a human mother, that connects with the baby bonobo very successfully. So successfully that she's able to raise the bonobo to a grown bonobo to be released into the wild and to be able to survive. And of course this is the work of Claudine Andre overseeing all of this and making this happen. Claudine very much understands the bond between a mother and a child and the importance of family and community as well. So I think it's a very, very, very important film. It emphasizes how close humans are to the animal world around them and how important and vital the survival of the animals is to the human world as well.